to please come and tell Nigerians what he is doing in the culture sector. Honorable Minister of Culture.
The Honorable Minister for Information, the Honorable Minister for Aviation, the Honorable Minister for Justice and Honorable Attorney General, Permanent Secretaries in the Ministries of Tourism, Culture and National Orientation, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Aviation, Solicitor General of the Federation, Executive Directors, Directors General, Heads of Departments and Parastatals, stakeholders in culture, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with distinct honor and privilege that I rise to share with you the new frontier for the growth, the development, and the influence of Nigeria globally. Today, the greatest source of influence of Nigeria's dynamic position and the transformation is a soft power that originates from culture, because today, led by the visionary leader, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with the support of a very eminent Vice President, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, and an economic management team that has realized that it is critical as we begin to march into the future, that culture, which is the essence of our Nigerianness, culture which is the greatest collateral in the DNA of every Nigerian, that culture, which is the greatest tool with which we have redefined our influence in the global space of interaction amongst nations, that culture as enterprise, using the platform of tourism and engaging the hearts and minds of Nigerians through orientation and value reorientation, must be mainstreamed in the economic agenda of Nigeria. And this transformation is permeating not just from the leadership of Nigeria, where we see a leadership that is showing the new vision of reorientation, a leadership that is courageous, committed, dispassionate and humble, a leader with great cerebral capacity, leading a nation of dynamic citizens. That is the new story of Nigeria, and that is propelled by our culture. I wish to begin by thanking my colleague, the Minister for Information, a dogged patriot of Nigeria, a committed citizen, a most flamboyant speaker, and a man of distinction and honor, who has placed at our disposal the platform of the Ministerial initiative for us to share with Nigerians the new story, because today a new beginning has come for our nation. This is an administration that has begun from the stories that we have heard from aviation and to the stories that we are hearing in agriculture, as well as in solid minerals, in the environment, and in the economy at large, talk less of the works and housing. This is a new story, a new story that begins to give us self-esteem within the Committee of Nations. A new story of Nigeria that now strengthens our position as not just the leader of Africa, but the cultural centerpiece of global Africa and diaspora. In specific terms, I'd like to quickly run you through some of the high points of our activities and achievements in the last 24 months and thereabout. I would begin first and foremost by indicating that in the last 2 years or thereabout, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and National Orientation has established 12 cultural industries around Nigeria. For the purposes of emphasis, these cultural industries are based in Sokoto, in Makurdi in Benue State, in Oturukpo in Benue State, in Odeda in Ogun State, in Abeokuta in Ogun State, in Bali in Taraba State, in Ibi in Taraba State, in Iyi and Enugu State, in Gideon Aji in Federal Capital Territory, in Owo in Ondo State, in Auchi in Edo State. Why have we decided to do this? It is because culture is enterprise. Culture has moved from being the expression of drums and songs at airports. Culture has exited through the door of being an expression of creativity in the parks, in the car parks of big hotels and offices. It is no longer the performances of young men and women on the stages when we are having dinner. Time has come, and we have embarked on the journey of transforming the creativity of our young men into a dynamic entrepreneurial prospect so that our young men and women who are blessed with the skills of dancing can believe that their dexterity and the pulsating drum beats can win them contracts to perform on the stages of Atlanta. And we have proven this. We have proven this by taking our cultural performances to stages from China to Mexico to Portugal and indeed virtually every continent of the world. That is the new power of culture. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have embarked on a Creativity Week on an annual basis to give young Nigerians the opportunity of expressing themselves. And that is why if you go out to the car park of these premises, you would see unbelievable spectacle of what Nigerians are doing, young and old, simply with their hands. Distinguished Nigerians, I wish to state that at the advent of this administration, it was an anathema for you to say that you are going to have festivals and carnivals. It was thought to be an expression of debauchery. It was indicated that culture, performances, carnivals are actually a disturbance of the public order. But today, because of the energetic work that we have put in transforming Carnival into a tool for national cohesion, you'll find that in every state of Nigeria today, in every local government, in fact, corporate organizations are beginning to use carnivals for purposes of national cohesion. And we say national cohesion because it is only when you are having festivals and carnivals that you will see people of various political parties singing and dancing in the platform of unity. It is only when you are having carnivals that you see people of various religious extractions and people who ordinarily would not share a plate of food. But when we depose, when we adopt the strength of culture through festivals, you find Nigerians naturally engaging with one another, a show of love, an enhancement of unity, and this is the power of culture that we have deployed. In the last 24 or so months, we have had carnivals that have attracted almost a dozen different countries from different parts of the world. And you only need to go to the area of the Eagle Square to see the great commercial enterprises that grows around there just over 1 week of the Abuja Carnival. We also have the opportunities of using Carnival to express the influence of Nigeria on cultures of other lands. And that is why today, whilst people see us going to Trinidad and Tobago, they think we are going on a journey or the gallivanting journey of no importance. But rather, the African diaspora is being attracted back to Nigeria through the deployment of our festivals and carnivals in order for them to trace their roots of origin, in order for them to develop a new self-esteem, because as diasporans, their umbilical cords are still rooted in the rich and fertile soil of Nigeria and Africa. Distinguished Nigerians, I'd like to spend a few minutes to talk about the embellishment of Nigerian foreign missions abroad. Today, Nigeria has almost 200 different missions all over the world. And it depends on the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and National Orientation with attributes of our creativity and attributes of our culture. Because culture is the first letter of recommendation. It is only when you see the lifestyle of a people, when you feel the essence of their culture, that you begin to have that confidence and comfort that you can do business with these people, and that will activate an expression of interest in investment. Today, when we talk about the slave route, it is something virtually intangible, and people do not understand. But all over the continent of Africa, especially in West Africa, the slave route initiative has become a huge industry. And so we, in conjunction with UNESCO, are now in a process of conclusion. In fact, we have started the development with UNESCO of a slave route resource center south of Nigeria, because our neighbors cannot claim that the Africans in the diaspora come from some other West African countries that are virtually like one local government in Nigeria. A couple of weeks ago, the African Union celebrated 50 years of the African Union and the OAU. It took Nigeria walking through CBAC to reveal to the rest of the world that civilization in Africa, especially as it relates to creative arts, has actually been with us in Nigeria in excess of about 4,000 years. And so CBAC worked with the High Commission, the Nigerian Embassy and permanent representatives in Addis Ababa to position Nigeria as the lead in this sector in unraveling the potentials of using creative arts to redefine our civilization. And when your civilization is well positioned, there is respectability that comes with it. Today, we in the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and National Orientation, realizing the potence of this sector, have opened cultural centers in Brazil, which has to date received over 2 million visitors. We are the only country in Africa that has a cultural center in China. And that is critical for us because China is the leading economic power in the world. And the only way to get to them is First and foremost, to open the doors of collaboration through culture. Today, we are in the consideration of the Chinese primus inter pares amongst Committee of Nations. And that is why today, without my invitation, our Chinese friends, represented by the Cultural Attaché of China, has joined us at this forum and is in our midst today. We are engaging with the Chinese because today, even the United States has found China to be a friend in terms of development. But the Chinese have won our hearts and minds, and they are here with us in truth and in faith. Your Excellencies, in the last 2 weeks, in the last 2 years rather, we have worked diligently at re-establishing and strengthening across Nigeria a total of 45 museums, 63 monuments, and we have just identified 100 heritage sites. These are sites that speak to our legacy, to our origin as a people. These are places that we've never known or recalled to date. And this is important. This is important because when we conclude the Aerotropolis, when we conclude the renovations of the airports, when travelers come within Nigeria or outside Nigeria, they would spend a day at the Aerotropolis. But we must develop destinations. When they pass through the Aerotropolis into the city centers, into the villages and rural communities, what will they go to do? That is why you see a new partnership between the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and the Ministry of Aviation. Today I wish to state that regardless of the resources at our disposal, today we have suddenly reawakened in the minds of Nigerians that there is perhaps Nigeria's most prominent iconic property, the National Theatre. Today you read in the media about the National Theatre, great enthusiasm and interest. If we had allowed the National Theatre to remain as it was 37 years ago, we will not see all the mileage we are seeing in the media today. But because the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan wants to restore a credible cultural community and sector, he has authorized that there must be a renewal. There must be courage and commitment to reinvest in the National Theatre, and the management of that organization is doing enormous work in trying to develop a new leisure entertainment district around the National Theatre. And we are indeed in discussion with the Nigerian Export Promotion Zone Authority in order to ensure that we can make that district perhaps the first duty-free and tax-free leisure and entertainment territory in West Africa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that today the National Council for Arts and Culture has just concluded the Africa Arts and Culture Expo, and these Arts and Craft Expo. And these to some people may have looked like a small shopping center for arts and craft. But what we have tried to do is to draw attention to the fact that art and craft is a major entrepreneurial initiative and sector that we can use to engage our young men and women. And I say that with great confidence because today arts and crafts may only be seen in some obscure parts of Nigeria and in some cities around the country. But working with our partners from other parts of the world, it is our desire that the arts and craft of Nigeria will now begin to adorn the shelves of the ethnic products in Walmart and in Costco and in some of those other parts of the world where these are items of great interest. Only a couple of days ago, I was talking to a small group of entrepreneurs. And these are young men and women who sell suya meat at the airport. And I say to them that it is possible, if we were only able to work with you, for you to package your products, and it will be on the shelves in the duty-free stores for people to pack, just as we would buy these products in some parts of Africa. So there is need for us again to engage with developmental partners and with agencies that have the resources to transform some of these products. Our National Institute of Cultural Orientation is doing enormous work in organizing indigenous programs in various languages of this country to bring about cultural and ethnic unity, using the platform of traditional rulers as well as using the media and art enthusiasts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that going forward, we have identified the fact that tourism is one of the 4 biggest economic sectors in the world. And so it is important for us to begin to build capacity. And in building capacity, we are working with our National Institute for Tourism and Hospitality Studies. And in the last 2 years, we have trained over 2,500 specialists in hotel and tourism studies. They have become certificated so that we can deploy them into our hotels and other hospitality facilities and ensure that this is not an opportunity for charlatans and people with no training to provide service in some of our very important establishments. As you know, today Nigeria is the #1 destination for investment in hospitality. Not South Africa, not Ghana, not Gambia, not Egypt. And that is because hospitality has become a bedrock for tourism development and indeed the generation of income and the expansion of the economy. I'd just like to say aside, can we imagine an Abuja without a Hilton? Or can we imagine a Lagos without an Eko Expo Center? These are the strengths that investment in hospitality brings to bear. And today, the Africa Hospitality Investment Council has found Nigeria to be the greatest attraction for investors in this particular sector. We have deployed the opportunity of global platforms like the Arabian travel market, like the World Travel Market in London, in order to market Nigeria. And I want to assure you that indeed this country that we take so much for granted, this country that because we are from here, looks to us as a hard sell. Indeed, this country is a great jewel in the eyes of the rest of the world. Oftentimes people ask me, what is there to see in Nigeria? And I wonder if they're actually Nigerians. And they're also embedded here. I'd like us to develop a new sense of belief in our country, because in actual fact, what I spread before you today, these are tourist sites in Nigeria. And this is evidence-based. They exist in Nigeria. This is not a fluke. But it is important for us to understand, to see, to believe, and then to work together in order to attract investment into the sector. I'd like to say, for instance, that today, as we begin a new lease of life, as a new nation with a leadership that is advancing the core of national orientation, we have the national orientation working assiduously. Today, we can claim that it has successfully advocated the successful adoption of the second stanza of the national anthem as a national prayer. And that was an eloquent testimony when we started this morning with that initiative. The National Orientation Agency has also adopted several platforms working with universities and working with schools and local communities in order to constantly advocate for the transformation of our country using ourselves individually. Because it is only when we as individuals reorder our priority, re-establish the values that started from our immediate families and communities, and bringing this to bear on the responsibilities that we have wherever we find ourselves nationally, that and only then can we claim to work in the interest of Nigeria to secure a value reorientated people. I'd like to say, for instance, that several years ago, we had the Y Brigade. The Y Brigade in the era of MAMSA was actually an energetic group of young men and women. But over the years, this brigade tended to have lost its focus. But today, the National Orientation Agency has rebranded and re-engineered the Y Brigade into a volunteer scheme of community workers. And this, I think, is something of great interest. I would like to say, especially for those who believe in figures, that we have circulated today a global report on the contribution of tourism to the economy of Nigeria. This is a document that we are going to leave with all of you, because this is the World Travel and Tourism Report for 2012. And this will be an eloquent testimony to economists and to managers of the economy that when we talk about culture and tourism, we are not just telling stories. These are facts embedded in a document globally accepted and endorsed, and this is something that should give comfort to all Nigerians. The President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan administration, having discovered when it came into office that since 2008, Nigeria has suspended its cultural policy, quite contrary to the consent and the convention of UNESCO. You cannot be a signatory to a convention and yet you do not have a policy that you have subscribed to. And so today, we have a national policy on culture for the very first time in the last 10 years, which means that we can truly begin to advocate for the utilization of culture as a tool for development and indeed fit into the global framework which had been delineated by UNESCO. Today, we have constituted the National Council on the Restoration and Endowment for the Arts. That is one major challenge that succeeding administrations in Nigeria were unable to do. On the 1st of July, this body is going to be inaugurated, and its mandate is to try to raise resources to promote and develop our heritage sites, to develop museums around the country which will tell the story of our people. And we have worked with some interest groups in identifying some very special museums, some of which will be in Abuja and some in different parts of Nigeria, in order to retain some of the critical elements of our heritage and legacy. And I want to say that for us it is important that Nigerians who travel all over the world and patronize these places should be able to find places at home that they can actually visit and spend their money. You will agree with me that Nigerians are the greatest travelers from the continent of Africa. If there is nowhere in the world that you find a Nigerian or a Chinese, then there is something wrong in that country. Only in the month of September, I was invited by the Minister of Tourism of South Africa to open the South African Tourism Month. When I asked him why, he told me that South African tourism grows by 10% every year, whilst global tourism grows at the rate of 4%. And that out of the tourism revenue of South Africa and the tourism arrivals, 70% comes from Africa and 30% from the rest of the world. But that of the 70%, Nigeria constitutes almost 40%. And so, it is actually not something for applause. What it means is that there is capital flight. What it means is that there is capital flight. And that is why, during his state visit to South Africa, the South African president was so happy with our president, praised him to high heavens, and actually said to him that here is the figure of Nigerians who come to my country to spend money. Here is the amount of money that they spend annually. And please, Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to establish a South African tourism office in Lagos, Nigeria. That is an eloquent testimony to the fact that this is a sector that has great potential, and we are working assiduously with various other stakeholders. And I'd like to pause at this point in time to show you your country, because seeing is believing. And that is why we would be launching on the 4th of July a new tourism brand for Nigeria. Just as you would have your incredible India and Malaysia, truly Asia, and so on and so forth, we will be launching Fascinating Nigeria. Fascinating Nigeria. That is the description for each and every one of you. If you look around at yourselves, there is nobody else.
Welcome.
Please. Go ahead.
Nigeria, a fascinating country. Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. A land of beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget. Sited on the western shores of Africa, Nigeria is a welcoming country which promises a fascinating experience for everyone. Welcome to Abuja, the capital of the country. Here you will discover Nigeria's religious and cultural diversity, while enjoying the many international hotels offering first-rate hospitality. Step into the exciting city of Lagos, a place where tradition and modernity come together. Considered Africa's own Big Apple, the city is home to luxurious hotels and some of the best shops and restaurants in the country. Enjoy the unique nightlife and thriving music scene of one of the most vibrant cities on earth. Rediscover relaxation in Nigeria's southern state of Akwa Ibom. Enjoy the finest hospitality at Le Meridien Hotel and Golf Resort, where the lush greens of the world-class 18-hole golf course and its unique location in the middle of the jungle will ensure a lifetime of memories. Discover the beautiful city of Calabar, capital of the Cross River State, a lovely and peaceful place located on the southeast coast. Immerse yourself in the local traditions and get in touch with Nigeria's rich cultural history through the many festivals around the country. Take a trip through the mountain forest, where the Obudu Mountain Resort plays host to luxury travels and some of the most important conventions in Africa. And pay a visit to the Alfi Mountain Wildlife Reserve, a rainforest sanctuary where you can see some of the most endangered species alive. A country with 170 million people. Africa's biggest market. Extraordinary. Fascinating. Nigeria.
Thank you very much. That is your country. That is a country that we must all be proud of. If we did not have the name Nigeria on that movie, some of us would have booked flights to go to that destination. But truly, I say unto you that this is the new frontier. We therefore would wish to invite private investors, stakeholders, to join hands with the travel and tourism sector of Nigeria to promote travel, to promote tourism, to promote destinations, to create jobs, to create wealth. That is the only time that we can have a true transformation in this great nation of ours. In summarizing, I'd like to lead you through the key points of my remarks. First is that we have developed a new policy on culture, which was suspended in 2008 by UNESCO, and it is ready for launch. The tourism and hospitality industry and our institute has to date trained over 2,500 people. We have developed 3 cultural centers in the last 2 years. We are collaborating with other sectors in order to promote the heritage sites of Nigeria. We have established research centers across the country in Osogbo, Kaduna, and Enugu, and we are about to launch a new tourism brand for Nigeria, in addition to the reintroduction of our tourism desk and officers in airports locally and internationally. I want to thank you for your attention and reassure you that this transformation administration is working. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.